for disagreeing?
That's his fault for.
Yeah, bring him in. Where he at? He's somewhere around here?
Yeah, he's
here.
here.
Bring him up.
Because look, I mean, I see you on the train. I see you in the back. I see JJ in the back there. You're the conductor.
Yeah, he has room. He has room. I'm leaving one of the doors open for him to get on the train right now.
Okay, well, we can't let you go at him and not bring him into the conversation.
Hey,
so,
JJ.
I mean, they left the door open. He left the door open on the express, JJ. Perk just broke it all down that John Morant, he thinks this is all the good stuff that's going on with him. But where do you want to see improvement from him?
I don't know why you have to create this rift, Perk. You act like I'm a John Morant hater. I'm not a hater. I think he's awesome.
I didn't produce the show. I didn't produce the show. I'm just doing what I was told. Come on, what you doing?
Look, the big question mark is, can Ja make threes? He's at 35% this year. I like to think about how Utah played him last year in the playoffs. There was a lot of going over the screen, Rudy Gobert and a big drop. That allows Ja to get to his strengths. What happens in the playoffs if teams give him a steady diet of going underneath the screen? We saw it in crunch time last night, down one. The clip is not running for some reason. The producers are not showing me the clip.
There we go.
There we go. We got Maxey on the ball. Drummond's in a drop. Maxey goes under. Ja Morant misses the three. He was 0 for 5 last night. When a lot of teams play, they go over with the guy on the ball. Drummond obviously in a drop. This plays to Ja's strengths. This is his game. Mid-range floaters. And in this second clip, Thybulle tries to get to an ice. He doesn't. There's an opportunity to go under right there. He goes over, downhill, Drummond too far back. He's at the rim. That coverage plays into Ja's strengths. I would love teams to start going under more, and let's see if he can knock down 4 or 5 threes in the game.
Yeah, but JJ, they can't go under. You know why? Because the Grizzlies know that teams are trying to go under, and you have one of the best screen setters in the league, and Steven Adams, that was taught by yours truly, to learn how to set picks. See, you got to understand, Steven Adams played with Russell Westbrook, so he used to guys trying to go under screens. Those angles are important.
Perk, I totally agree with you, but look at where those screens were being set. They were above the three-point line. I'm not saying eventually if we get the screen down near the elbow, you're not going to go over top of that, but why go under that first screen?
Why
not force the rescreen? Why not force the ice?
Are you getting on the train? Are you getting your ticket and getting on the train or not?
I've been on the train.
Okay.
I don't know. You're creating this. I've been on the John Morant train.
I didn't produce the show, JJ. I'm just asking you a question.
I feel like I need to separate you two.
Yeah, he's lucky you're in New York.
Perk.
He's going on the train. All right, we're gonna.
I want to say one thing to RJ
Go ahead,
real
JJ.
quick. I just want to tell him trust the process. That's all. Trust the process.
You should have trusted the process when you was in Philly.
Well, it seems like he's trusting. Welcome back to NBA Today. Steph Curry was sizzling last night in Houston, so let's take a look at the highlights. Steph Curry and the Warriors, they were visiting the Rockets, and we're going to pick it up in the third quarter. But keep an eye on Curry and Kevin Porter Jr. because Curry, he's trying to get to his spot. Porter Jr. being a little bit physical with him there. He gets called for the foul, stares down Curry afterwards. And then under a minute to go, Golden State up. Those two going at it again. Curry forces Porter Jr. into a turnover and walks into the three. Curry talked about the back and forth with Porter Jr. after the game.
I think there's a couple like off-ball fouls, and I won't say there's a little chirping, but it was good gamesmanship. And then we got a steal. I think I got a good defensive stop. We got a steal, and I came down in transition. That kind of lit the fire for the rest of the game.
It absolutely lit the fire for the rest of the game, Richard.
And let me tell you, I did this game, and it was funny because it was really the fourth quarter. The Houston Rockets did a good job of staying in this game. You saw the little back and forth between him and Porter. But once Steph gets going, we've all seen that look. And he had been quiet. Sometimes you want to let people sleep, but they woke him up. And when he woke up, he was like, oh, this feels good. He was searching. He was winking to the crowd. He was chirping a little bit back and forth. Steph was doing Steph things.
And he had 40. Here's him after the game.
What are you thinking when an opponent starts trash talking Steph the way that Kevin Porter started tonight?
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't notice that at all, but I highly encourage it.
I respect guys who say things with their chest, and Kevin Porter seems like one of those guys. You just got to know what you're stepping into. You got to know once you cross that line what Steph is going to do. And Steph did, what do they say? Steph is Stephen. What do y'all say? Yeah, Steph gonna Steph.
I mean, Juan Toscano said it. Steph's going to Steph. He had 21 of his 40 points in the fourth quarter. That was leading the Warriors to their 6th straight win. And Richard, you called the game last night. You saw this back and forth. It looks a little something like the back and forth that's going on over there. But who is on your list of players, like Steph Curry, that you don't want to poke them and wake?
Well, look, my thing is this. Like, Perk is like, oh, you could talk. You can talk trash to whoever you want. Steph is number 3 in my book because you know what? Let Steph just do Steph. Steph doesn't speak unless spoken to. And he'll still go for 40 or 50. But here's my next. Give me my number 2. Give me my number 2. Again, another guy that doesn't speak unless spoken to. This man, maybe leading candidate, maybe for MVP, maybe he's a leading scorer in the league, maybe he's won everything in the world. You just let him be. You play good defense, you show him a little bit of respect, and then you just go about your business. But number one is this monster right here. Because ultimately, there has never been a defense created to stop any of these 3, but this one physically, what he can do to your team on both ends of the floor, blocking shots, dunking. But the one thing and why you don't talk trash to these 3 is because they don't speak unless spoken to, and they will still try and destroy you. So now you're going to give them motivation in the middle of January? No, these guys are going to show up playoff ready in the fourth quarter.
Well, we all grown men, and I totally disagree with this, but since I was forced to make a list, I'm going to give you mine. You should be able to talk trash. In between those lines, it's a war. If you get torched, so what? At number 3, I'm going with Kevin Durant. I'm going with Kevin Durant. We already know a walking bucket. He do sometimes talk noise, by the way, Richard. I played with him. At number 2, pull it up. I'm going with Steph Curry. I'm going with Steph Curry because he could just light it up from anywhere. Whether you talking trash to him or not, don't poke the bear. But number 1, Joel Imbeed. You know why? Because he talk noise and he back it up and he actually embraced that. That's what I love about him. And then after the game, if he's talking noise with an opponent, guess what? He walks over there and gives them props if they shut him down or lock him up or hold him to an off night.
You have some questions.
I want to know who's the bigger trash talker out of you 2 on the court.
I only trash talk my teammates. I don't speak to other teams. Like I don't speak unless spoken to.
I'm raised from a different breed. It didn't matter.
Hey, I'm not judging it. I was just curious. JJ, were you a big trash talker? Do you have a list for me?
I do have a list for you. Some people think I'm a big trash talker. I'm somewhere in the middle of those 2 guys. Number 3 for me is Luka Doncic. Witnessed him last year in the first round against the Clippers. There was a lot of noise being said during that series. That gets him going. Joel Embiid at number 2. Joel is the ultimate heel. He's playing a part. Why would you buy into that and get him going even more? Both those guys I've witnessed having average nights for them. Somebody says something to them. All of a sudden you look up in the fourth quarter and they've got 38 and 15. Number 1 for me is Steph Curry. Like all great players, they have to manufacture slights and injustices to get themselves going. This is what makes them great. Steph Curry checks his Twitter account at halftime to look for comments that get him going. Why would you talk trash to him? I don't understand that. He's a ticking time bomb, ready to explode at any time, and we've seen it time and time again. Why would you try to get that guy going?
No, but so this is a different perk. I understand. You play with KG, like these are your guys. I respect that. I'm not disrespecting what he is saying. What I am saying is at the end of the day, your goal is to win every game. This is not a question of whether or not you're a man,
that's not
somebody else's man.
Goal.
Your goal, but I'm
the
just saying,
Rockets' goal
in
is
general,
to play hard.
all those 3 players weren't playing against the Rockets. My point is this, is that when your job is to step on the court and win the game, some players you can get into their head mentally.
Yep.
Some players, when you try and talk to them, it works against you. Those 3 players, it works against you. You can talk to them, but you see what happens. So all our idea is not to let them disrespect you, not saying you less of a man, but like if my goal is to win the game, I'm going to let him do what he does, and I'm going to go do what I do.
You saying that you're not going to talk trash to them, to me, I take that as something.
Oh, yeah, look, I've dunked on KD and winked at him before, but I'm not going to just talk trash to him.
Yeah, because you're friendly.
If I would, yeah, okay,
A little friendly, all right.
That's not true, Perk. That's not true.
It is true. It is true. I'm saying, look, I'm telling you this.
We all can go out and compete without trash talking. We can go compete and trash talk. It's
but isn't
not
it
about
a little
being
bit
friendly
more
with
fun?
somebody.
It's a little bit more fun when you do
this is why so many old school people always stop. This is why so many old school players always say, oh, our game is so soft, our game is so friendly. Because back in the day, We used to see people trash talking Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. Like, we saw those type of things. Now it's all brother.
19 championship. What happened?
Let's jersey swap.
Yeah, what happened?
Here go my jersey. Let me get yours. Get out of here, man.
Well, the Warriors, they're going to be back in action tonight, but they have listed out 8 players of tonight's game. Take a look at all of them against the Spurs. It is the second night of a back-to-back, but no Steph Curry, no Klay Thompson, Draymond, Andre Iguodala, Andrew Wiggins, Nemanja Bjelica, Otto Porter Jr., James Wiseman, all out tonight. But we will see you today. We will be celebrating Black History Month all February long on this show, but as the month starts, it's more of the same for the Suns, who are riding a league-best 10-game winning streak. So Phoenix, they lead the NBA in net rating during their winning streak, outscoring opponents by just over 11 points per 100 possessions. And they're the only team in the NBA with multiple winning streaks of at least 10 games this season. And Chris Paul, he is having another stellar year. He's leading the NBA in assists at 10.3 per game. And he's picked up his scoring recently, too. CP3 has scored at least 20 in 4 straight games. That's his longest win streak since 2017. And at the time, he was with the Rockets. And then his backcourt mate, Devin Booker, has also been on an absolute scoring tear. It has been so much fun to watch him play. He's averaging over 30 points per game since the Suns streak started back on January 11th. And that game, it was against the Raptors. And it was also known as a game where he got into it with their mascot. And this is what Zach Lowe said on this show after the incident that was heard around the world.
I'm a little worried that Devin Booker has unleashed forces that he does not understand. The Raptor is by himself in an empty arena, the saddest mascot in all of pro sports during a pandemic, and you shoo him away to the corner. Look, I'm telling you right now, Devin Booker, the mascot community is tight-knit. You do not want to alienate them. Devin Booker, you unleash forces, man. You don't even know what's going on. Oh my Lord.
And Zach Lowe joins me now. So Zach, I am curious, how much credit are you taking for the Suns' winning streak?
None. Not surprisingly, Devin Booker may be one step ahead of me. Maybe he wanted the mascots to band against him. Maybe he needed a little extra motivation because he was getting bored by winning every game so easily. So hats off to Devin Booker. You created 30 enemies or 27 enemies, but you did it for a reason. You're playing chess. I was just playing checkers.
Got a lot of enemies. All right, so it wasn't the rant, but what do you attribute their success to?
A whole lot of nothing, because the Suns were awesome before the streak. They're awesome now. They are just awesome. They're the most consistent team in the NBA. They just keep coming at you. It's not sexy all the time, but they have no weaknesses, and they just keep coming and coming and coming until it's crunch time, and then they unleash hell on you in crunch time. But the most impressive thing is really they've done it without DeAndre Ayton and Jay Crowder, 2 starters. Campaign, their backup point guards get been hurt. It doesn't matter. Chris Paul and Devin Booker have reached another level. They make Bismack Biyombo look like Shaq almost in the starting center, and they just keep on coming at you. They don't beat themselves. They don't make mistakes. Other than the occasional bad rebounding game, they have 0 weaknesses, and they are 40-9. We talk about all these other teams, their ups and downs, this and that. The Suns just keep on winning at a ridiculous pace.
They've been incredible to watch. They certainly seem to still be the team to beat in the West. I expect Chris Paul and Devin Booker both to get into the All-Star game, but they are in action tonight. So now to the team that the Suns are facing tonight, the Brooklyn Nets. They're on a 4-game losing streak, and Kyrie Irving is averaging just over 24 points. But the Nets, they're just 6-8 overall since he started playing part-time, and 4-4 when he suits up. So for more on Brooklyn, I'm now joined by our Nets reporter, Nick Friedel. Nick, the biggest question going into the game is the status of James Harden. He's missed the last 2 games with a right hand strain. I'm so used to saying hamstring. What's the latest on Harden?
Malika, Steve Nash is hopeful that he will play, and that's a great sign for the Nets. He went through all his shoot-around this morning. He went through all of Monday's practice. He was taking all the shots that he usually does. So the Nets believe that he'll be out there, and they badly need him offensively. But the key with this team is they've been giving up 119 points a game during this losing streak. So they need Harden to set the tone offensively to set up what they need to do on the defensive end.
Absolutely. The Nets, they have lost 4 straight. The Suns, though, they have won 10 straight. So we're going to see if it's which streak gets snapped tonight. Thank you so much, Nick Friedel. I'm sure we'll be seeing you throughout the day on the 2-time Finals MVP is headed back to the Seattle Storm on a 1-year Supermax deal. The team that drafted her number 1 overall in 2016. And also, it was reported earlier today that the reigning MVP, Jonquel Jones, has signed a core qualifying offer to return to the Connecticut Sun on a 2-year deal. She led the Suns to a league-best 26-6 record last season. And then the Aces, they head into free agency with some decisions to make after hiring Becky Hammon to be their head coach. And Liz Cambage is an unrestricted free agent, and 2020 MVP Asia Wilson is a restricted free agent. But take a look at what Liz Cambage tweeted earlier. Yes, the WNBA, where a head coach can get paid 4 times the highest paid player's Supermax contract. And y'all think I'm going to spend another season upgrading my seat on a flight to get to games out of my own pocket. Whew, all right. So for more on this tweet and all things WNBA free agency, LaChina Robinson joins us in studio. Hey, LaChina.
Hey, Malika. Thank you so much. Well, what a way to start out, and a lot to talk about. Today is free agency day in the WNBA. LaChina, Holly Rowe with us, also Carolyn Peck. And that's where we start with Liz Cambage and those comments, Carolyn. When you hear that, when you read that, what comes to mind for you?
The biggest thing that I really recognize from that is that Mark Davis invested in a woman coach. Paying Becky Hammon $1 million is demonstrating where the WNBA needs to be in going after and getting quality coaches.
Becky Hammon spent 15 years in the WNBA as an undrafted player, made her way, became one of the greatest of all time. Becky Hammon earned every penny she's about to get paid because of her lifetime work in the WNBA. And players like Liz Cambage got paid more because of some of the work Becky Hammon did. So let's celebrate a woman getting $1 million contract in the league instead of women tearing each other down.
Preach.
Definitely don't want to lose the headline as far as Becky Hammon, but I do understand Liz Cambage's point of the coaches getting paid more than the players. Something there has to change. All right. So the other thing that Malika just mentioned, Jonquel Jones re-signing with the Connecticut Sun. Holly, I'll start with you. When you think about Jonquel's career and even being in Connecticut, a place that maybe 10 years ago weren't getting a lot of free agent signing or free agents coming there, what is it that she needs to accomplish this year to cement herself and her legacy?
I think that she's the best player in the world right now, according to her coach, Kurt Miller. She was the MVP this season. Let's give her her shine. She deserves everything that she's getting as well. And Jonquel Jones, all she needs to do is keep winning more in the playoffs. She was a game away from the WNBA Finals 3 years ago. I expect her to be at that next level. I can't wait to see her win it all one day.
Holly, you're the best. You had it right. She is the best player in the world and leading her team in rebounding, in points. She's shooting over 50%. She's 6'5". She can dunk. She can do everything. She can handle the basketball like a guard, get it done inside.
And what I love about the way this Connecticut team has come together, not only does Kurt Miller do a fantastic job, but Alyssa Thomas, her toughness. Like, this is a gritty team defensively. Jasmine Thomas, even their bench has bought into Tisha Heidemann. They're going to need everyone to step up, especially because sources are saying that Rion January will not be returning to Connecticut.
But guess who they might get? We are hearing that Courtney Williams will sign with the Connecticut Sun. She was on that team that was a game away from the WNBA Finals. Add a little sass to Connecticut. Jonquel, Courtney, I'm all in.
Well, they say never go back to your ex, so I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. So in other news, Breanna Stewart did return to the Seattle Storm, but surprisingly on a 1-year deal. What do you make of that, Carolyn?
Well, I think that because there's talk of that they have cored Jewel Lloyd to 2 years, so they couldn't accord her, and so she only has a 1-year deal. And I think, too, Stewie's from New York. Yeah. So why would she lock herself in after next season, play 1 more year with Sue Bird, and then shop around, maybe get back closer to home?
Well, she did meet with New York. She met with all of the top executives, the entire leadership team of the New York Liberty. And by signing this 1-year deal, I think it says 2 things about Breanna Stewart. Number one, get you a friend like that, because she's coming back in many ways to honor Sue Bird, to open that new building in Seattle. And I also think that there's some bigger conversation about the collective bargaining agreement and some new rules that will come into play in 2024. We'll get into that more on our show. But Breanna Stewart, some really smart moves right now, leaving her future open.
We will get into that and so much more. So catch us on the WNBA Free Agency Special. That is at 5 Eastern Time on ESPN2. Malika, back to you.
LaChina, Holly, Carolyn.
Straight at you. I like when the pressure's on me. I got all the confidence in the world in my game.
The Grizzlies lost last night, but Ja Morant had another spectacular night with 37 points, and it was his 7th straight 30-point game. That's the longest streak in Grizzlies franchise history. And Memphis is currently the 3rd seed in the West, only behind the Suns and the Warriors, and they're getting all the hustle stats, leading the league in rebounds, steals, blocks. But that's not just Ja Morant. There are other players, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, and Jaren Jackson Jr. They're all having great seasons. And speaking of, we are now joined by the aforementioned Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren, Memphis has been the breakout team in the NBA this season, and going into the year, there was a lot of talk about the Lakers and the Suns and maybe the Warriors and just about every other team in the West except the Memphis Grizzlies. How do the players in the locker room take on that sort of underdog mentality?
I mean, ironically, we all have it in our own way, so it's kind of weird that we all play together because we feel like we're underdogs in, other parts of our lives, how we were brought up, how we got to this point. And you just keep that mentality. It's more fun to play like that than play like, people expect you to do something. It just more hunger, I don't know, a better vibe.
Well, then you get to surprise a couple of people too, right? And maybe a little bit of I told you so. But you specifically play with that grit and grime attitude that we all love to see, but you improved in just about every statistical category. What do you attribute your success to this season?
Playing. I mean, I get to play now. I only played like however many games last year because I was trying to come back from injury, and then thank God we make the playoffs, so I was able to play for something special there. But I mean, I'm playing now. I got rhythm. I had a training camp. I'm around my dogs. I mean, we're in a real good rhythm right now. I think just attributed to the fun and the joy we're playing with. I really can't say much else. This is a special time for a special group. I just feel comfortable. I feel good out there.
It really oozes off watching you guys play. You can feel it through the screen. You can feel it emanating up into the stands. You guys enjoy playing together. I can't have you on the show and not ask about Ja Morant, a.k.a. G12. That's what we call him around here. And we've shown all of the highlight reel plays on this show. But what stands out about his game the most to you?
I mean, he's super smart. Everybody likes the dunks and, there's one. Everybody likes the dunks. Everybody likes all that stuff. But, I mean, he's just so smart. He knows how to manipulate the defense. Definitely even better than last year. Last year he was doing it really well. But now, I mean, ball fakes, just how he can see plays ahead, how he's finding guys, eyes in the back of his head, his passing ability. He's doing it all right now. So I'm glad everybody's just taking the time to appreciate it. Like, it's just a special moment for him. Like, he's just playing the best in his career, and sky's the limit, man. Like, it's great to see. And I get the best seats, so no one gets better seats than me to watch that.
Be honest, in practice, do you ever see him just practicing some of those dunks and you're like, oh yeah, he's going to break out something special in a game now?
Nah, he don't like the dunk. He don't like the dunk. That's the case with leapers, though. They don't like to do it. That's just how it is.
It's just the magic.
He'll do like one. Yeah, he'll do like one every once in a while, and we'll be like, oh. But he really likes saving for the game, and then we're hyped then. But if he does something weak in the game, we just boo him. So he knows how it is.
Oh, well, then
we just quick little boo, and then we get back to it.
You guys have set the standards high. I know Zach Lowe and Richard Jefferson would like to ask you a question, so I'm going to bring them in, and I'm sorry about it, but let's start with Richard.
Oh, well, thank you, Malika. What an intro. No, my question is this. When you look at Golden State, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Phoenix, these teams all look at this season that if they don't finish with a championship, then the season was a disappointment. Now that you guys are being considered in that group, Ja Morant is an MVP candidate, will you go as far to say is that if you guys, with the way that you're playing, if you don't win a championship this year, will this season be a disappointment?
It'll be disappointing for sure. We'll look back and probably take away things that we could have done better and then feel good about that. But I mean, when you got that feel, when you got that stride, and you can taste success a little bit. It's going to be disappointing if you don't do the most you can with it. So I think, you're going to feel a little bit. We're competitors, but at the end of the day, like, building off anything is important. So that's what we've been doing before this. That's what we're going to continue to do. And that's what we're going to look at.
Jaren, after last season, the question that dopes like me had was, how big of a level can Jaren Jackson Jr. reach defensively? Can he defend 4s? Can he defend 5s? Does he need to switch? Should he drop back? That was like the big uncertainty. Flash forward like 5 months, you're in the all-defense conversation. You're almost leading the league in block shots. What happened? Did you always know you had this in you? Was there a particular coach you worked with? Is it just a matter of staying healthy? Because this leap on defense has changed the entire Memphis Grizzlies team.
Yeah, I like to switch on defense. It helps, keep the ball in front of you. I think just with the way I move my feet and, if I can just get enough games, get loose enough just to be in a stance, like I'm 7 feet tall. Like it's not as easy. Like I'm telling you, you gotta get low. You gotta be in a stance. You got the best guards in the world coming full speed, and you gotta just be able to recognize what you gotta do. But I mean, block timing just comes from doing it all my life, and I don't know, just being in the right place. If you just stay engaged, you'll be surprised what you can come up with if you just stay engaged and just keep talking out there. And I mean, team defense is huge. I think that's what's really helping us collectively. Like we're able to rotate to the right spots, and which puts me in the right position to get blocks and do a bunch of that stuff. So, I mean, that's what wins championships. You know that, Rich.
Yeah.
So.
I've got one more for you before we let you go. Kendrick Perkins, he's nicknamed you all the dark side. It's become a thing on our show. What do you think of that nickname?
You don't have to accept it. It's Perk. You don't have to accept it. Just let's.
I think, okay, so like the whole, we like to run, talk trash, yell at you, all that stuff. I mean, it's just how we play. Like, it's weird. It's still ironic that we're all on the same team because it's kind of a thing we all like to do. Like it's just what comes out when we're competing, and we do it to each other in practice. So like, of course we're going to do it in the game. We're going to do it to the opposing team. Dark side, I mean, welcome to the dark.
No, it's trash. Just it's trash. It's okay.
I don't know. It sounds like they've embraced it.
You got to ask 12. I think that'll be the deciding factor. You can ask 12, get them on here. Say Perk said it too. I want to see his face.
All right, absolutely, we will. He's joined us before, and I'm sure he will join us again. And Jaren, please come back. This was so much fun. Best of luck the rest of the season.
For sure. You guys are doing great. This is prime time. My grandma gets to see this.
Yeah.
Well, hello to your grandma. Point. What is this? Let's start with top posters. And we're starting on January 17th.
Oh.
When Russell Westbrook
Whose baby is that? Somebody get that little French baby out the street.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I wonder what's the name for Similac.
What's the name for Similac?
What is with you?
I don't know.
Similac. It's been getting way too much airtime. Well, and then we got to do this. When Klay Thompson returned, he said afterwards that that's when he knew he was really back. He thought dunking would be the last thing that came back in his game. First game out, he had to do that to the Cavs.
Hey, look, and you dunking on that Cavs defense. You're doing something right. I see you, big fella.
Absolutely. All right, we have top game winners in the month of January. So let's start on the first day of the year because DeMar DeRozan was just incredible. Y'all remember this?
Woo! MVP candidate, Perk?
Don't start.
I'm just asking a question.
Not now.
Not now?
Was he when he hit
They've
the
been
shot?
struggling, so it's every 5 games we change our
I told
opinion?
you it's every month. But
Oh, okay,
it's not
okay,
about MVP.
Well, take a look at this game winner, RJ Barrett.
This it. Because you know why? The Celtics were up 24 at one point in the third quarter and blew this game. And RJ Barrett sent them home. I love it.
Why you nothing like hitting this shot
but they
in
have
the
turned
Garden.
it around. They turned it around.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's nothing like hitting this shot in the Garden. You see the fans go nuts. But then there's this, because Steph Curry, up until this point in his career, he had never had a true buzzer beater with 0-0-0 on the clock. So
Porter
he had
didn't
to
learn.
add that.
Porter didn't learn.
Give him that. He didn't got enough already.
And Porter didn't learn.
To somebody else.
He already has everything.
That was
but
Porter again?
Look at
That was
Wiggins'
Porter
face.
again. That was Porter again. Hey, Porter, I love the fire, though. Don't make no mistake. I love the fire.
All right, let's go to the top moment because we could not show you top plays in the month and not acknowledge what the Clippers did on January 25th. They trailed by 30 points at halftime. The second largest deficit overcome in NBA history.
And guess what? The Wizards haven't been the same since.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're going to talk about the Clippers. This is more about a Wizards, ain't this?